Oh, this edition of The Stack is brought to you in part by Geek Thoughts, the YouTube channel A Hail Eric, A Balanced Breakfast, and the support of viewers like you, all three of you. We thank you very much. Welcome to an exciting new edition of The Stack. I know it's been a little while, quite a while, but I knew I had to prep for this one because it's scary. It's gonna be scary. Scary. Cue the lightning. What was it? Oh, apparently we don't have lightning effects. Over budget. Thanks a lot. Bob the boom mic guy, he's getting fired tomorrow. Well, anyway, I thought that, take some time, think about this one, read a couple issues, and what I got in store for you is, like I said, scary. And it seemed like a job for none other than no, not Soups, but me. That's right, eyes up here. Seriously, eyes up here. Anyway, I opened up the old Vault of Horror and decided to dig through the comics and see what I found the most striking or horrifying, as it may seem. Hence why the name of this stack is The Horror of the Stack. Woo! Lightning! Oh, right. Over budget still. Okay, alright, before I get too far off track, I do have some comics that I've read over the course of the last few months. Yeah, some of them are old, sue me. But this is stuff you'll really enjoy. I feel that there's a lot of subgenres and themes that are making a comeback. Above all, the pulp noir, like Green Hornet here, but we'll get to that in a minute. And like any classic genre, there's bound to be nostalgia, and it's bound to get resurrected. And what better to resurrect, to rise from the grave, than the horror comic? Nothing is better at resurrection than the undead. So, I looked through, and without further ado, I got some stuff. It's pretty good, and you should go get it. I want to start with Dark Horse, one of the classic indie imprints, and one of its flagship characters, Hellboy and Abe Sapien. They just relaunched the Abe Sapien series, and it's good. I really have a few complaints. Mignola is one of the mans, right? But as far as horror, I mean, it's Hellboy and Ape Sapien, and there's like aliens that come out of these giant eggs. It takes place, picks up after some kind of Armageddon happened, where these giant pods just started showing up, and monsters were emerging from them, and Abe is kind of wandering through that world, trying to find his place in it. Stopping crimes and crises that come along, and he's probably finding his way back to Hellboy and the set of Guillermo del Toro's next movie or whatever. So it's very much a sci-fi book, more so than a horror novel, but it's a deeply personal uh, telling of Abe Sapien and just what is going on in his mind. It's good to see things from his point of view for a little while. What we have next, more Dark Horse, and this one has a bit of a celebrity attachment to it, especially if you're a music lover. The House of the Golden Bones. Now, of all the titles, this one has probably got the most hype behind it, even before it came out, because it is written by, as you can see right up there, Corey Taylor. That's Corey Taylor from Slipknot and Stone Sour, rock musician. It's a four-issue mini. I read the first two, and I'm not compelled, to be honest, to bother with reading the rest of it because it just didn't grab me. It's more of a maybe stoner or slacker fantasy or criminal fantasy than it is a horror comic. The best way I can describe it is to sort of analogize it with this little story that Taylor wrote in the back from his. It's an excerpt from his biography or autobiography. Yeah, a funny thing happened on the way to heaven. Right there. And it was just about him walking to school, and there was the old dark house in the woods, and you think at first, oh, he had a ghostly experience at that house. Well, not really. It was just a spooky place he walked by as a kid, and the story really goes nowhere. And that's kind of how I feel about the Golden Bones. More hype than anything else. Corey Taylor, he's not a bad writer, but and the art's good. Richard Clark does a wonderful, almost stereotypically indie comic job. But I don't know. It wouldn't hurt to pass on this one. When you think of horror and sci-fi comics and fantasy, one of the classics is Swamp Thing, Mr. Alec Holland. And in this, he meets that's Constantine. He goes to see, it's Constantine. If you didn't believe me. This one, he goes to Scotland to investigate some kind of mysterious whiskey tree that folks are drinking from, and that's making them merry and intoxicated, but also makes them ravenous and has them turn on one another. Enraged, kind of like 28 Days Later meets Wicker Man. And something's happened to Constantine where he's been there and he sampled some of it, and Swamp Thing's got to stop him, but he may have to save his own life first. I have to read the conclusion of this, but really enjoyed it. Ever since Alan Moore, there has not been a bad Swamp Thing that I can name. And time for the bigger guns. If House of Golden Bones, let me first start by saying, if that is like walking around in a tunnel with a broken flashlight or a flashlight with a dying battery, you catch a glimpse of something and you see it, but just enough to know that it's there, not really what it is. John Carpenter's Asylum is a much better flashlight as far as horror is concerned. Yes, that was a Stir of Echoes reference for those of you keeping score. That is a great movie and 10 times better than The Sixth Sense, and Night Shyamalan blows. Actually, he's more like the human vacuum cleaner. He kind of sucks and blows at the same time, and it took people a very long time to figure that out. But anyway, someone who does not suck and blow, well, some of his movies in the 80s are a bit... But one of the true masters of horror, this man, John Carpenter. And this is his baby, created by Thomas Ian Griffith and Senny King, but it's written by Bruce Jones, who is one of the best horror writers working today. He had a run about a decade ago on The Incredible Hulk, which is one of the single greatest runs of the Hulk since Peter David. At least since Peter David. It may be one of the best ever. And it really captured the Hulk in a way I had never seen before, focusing on Bruce Banner and sort of Banner's itinerant mission of controlling the raging beast within. It's the best way to put it. And just tricks he has to keep the Hulk at bay and stay calm, and stuff that they used in the Incredible Hulk movie in '08, and stuff that they borrowed from the TV show with Bill Bixby. Really, really awesome. And the art in particular is very scary. The Leonardo Mango art, I mean, this is way more striking than anything Corey Taylor's got in his bag or his briefcase, or in his head. And it's Jones is actually very graphic. He's very comfortable with writing about sex, and this has a lot of it, a lot of sex, a lot of blood. Uh, see, iconoclasm. Uh, what's the best term for it? Well, there's a guy who's an exorcist and a priest who has discernment, and his morals are pretty loose too. So they're Hanes. I guess we'll just leave it at that. But Asylum, very well worth your time and pretty scary. Don't leave this cover out in the open at night. Scare yourself when you're trying to go to bed, believe me. Next, I encourage you to beware the Batman. I added this because I found this is one of the more recent releases. I found this to be more, well, not more of a horror comic than the others, but this is very much, that's what I mean to say, a horror comic, as Batman contends with a new foe, who can change faces, not unlike Clayface, but unlike Clayface, it's a she. They could use Lady Clayface, but probably wouldn't have been the same story. It's this someone, she's more like the chameleon, and she has no skin. She's very Clive Barker-esque, and she wears people's skins, or she wears masks to become people. She can fake their voice, their mannerisms, their build. She's the true definition of a chameleon. And it's just insane. It's unbelievable uh, what she does. She actually goes after Bullock. That's probably one of the more shocking things. But it turns him and does something with his character that is very creative and more sympathetic than even some of the Batman TAS episodes like Bullet for Bullock. So definitely pick this up. You will not be disappointed. It's kind of 3 to 4 separate stories about the same character, this woman, like from her capture and fighting Batman, to her planning, to being in Arkham and just being out of her mind. And all of the DC annuals have been pretty good lately. The Superman annual with Brainiac, the other Batman annual, which had him trying to break out of Arkham to help the security, and it was like Arkham's oldest prisoner. He had to fight this woman who was kind of a ghost thing. It's been a good month for DC, very much. And now on to my favorite imprint for what they've been doing lately. Dynamite, and one of their major staples right now, the Green Hornet. And this is Green Hornet Legacy, which is more of a modern. There's a couple different Green Hornet books. This is the one that tells the modern tales of a young Britt Reed living in the 21st century, maybe the descendant of the original Britt Reed, with some new sidekicks, some new gadgets, and just protecting his city. And the cover may be reminiscent of The Walking Dead, but it's a little bit more like Steve Niles, especially his noir graphic novel Dead She Said, which also a very good read. There's this mortician who brings people back with chemicals, and you shoot them and they explode, and He actually... Yeah, Dr. Creepy. Dr. Creepy is the guy's name. And he fells the Green Hornet toward the end, and it's kind of the cliffhanger. But I love this for its twist on zombies, and just being different and being something that's totally kick-ass as Dynamite tends to be. They always surprise me and never disappoint. That's all I've got. That's all I pretty much have to say. Those are my geek thoughts. And I welcome yours. My brother Matt does too. And this might be the last stack for a while, possibly ever. We should probably consider this our series finale then. It's sad. There's no ticker tape. There's no nothing. But fear not. For we, or I at least, will be back and probably will be doing this again. So that's all she wrote. Wraps her all up. You can turn the lights back on now. You don't have to worry. The killer is not calling from inside the house. Everything's a-okay. So, zombies are gonna clean things up. Close up the old graveyard. Let the creaking gate just shut. Lock it. And go to your local haunted establishment and find these books. Whether you agree or disagree, tell us below or tell me on Twitter at AllHailEric. With that, I am Eric. All hail. And I'll see you next time. Did you hear that? It's probably just the sound of the show ending. Alright, I'm really gonna go now. Peace. Hope I didn't scare you too much. No, no one's gonna jump out, don't worry. Bye. Go to sleep now.